Hello, welcome back to Reads of an Apple. My name is Stacy and I'm here to start week 9 of 2023. I can't believe we're almost in double digits week-wise. That's crazy. So once again, it is another clip that starts after when I usually start them. I typically start my weekly vlogs on Saturday or Sunday, the weekend. But it is Tuesday. Not quite as late as the last couple times, but things happened. As you can probably tell behind me from the monstrous stack of boxes. Saturday, I ended up renting a moving truck from Home Depot and going down to the storage unit that had all of my stuff from like college and growing up and my apartment, plus all of the stuff that my brother and sister didn't take from my mom. And it's out of there, plus some of my furniture. So I got my other 2 bookshelves. I got my dining room table. I have a really pretty like red, it's not like a dresser, but it's got like little tiny drawers in it. And it's got like cherry blossoms painted on it, but I plan on doing an apartment tour once everything's set up, and bookshelf tour. So you'll see it whenever that comes. But yeah, I went through and I grabbed whatever I wanted to go through again or wanted to keep. And then I left the rest there to be junked. And yeah, so I'm gonna probably end up getting rid of a lot of this, but I wanted to have time to re-go through things and like really sit and not feel like I would be rushed into a decision on if I'm gonna keep something that was my mom's or get rid of it, and just kind of be able to have it so if I need to leave some stuff in a box and then come back to it and think like, do I really want this? Do I really feel the need to keep this? So it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. I did that all day Saturday. I ended up with over 24,000 steps. And Sunday, I was so sore. I could hardly even move Sunday. I just was like, the only thing that wasn't sore was my neck and my head. Everything else was sore. So yeah, it was a great, fun weekend. Yesterday, Monday, I actually can access my kitchen now. I had like the bookshelves and stuff in the kitchen because I was running out of space, because the furniture was the first thing unloaded, and then I did all the boxes. But unloading, we did all the boxes. The dining room table was on its side, just kind of blocking off the living room, but I got that up. I got all of those cleaned. I got my dresser. My dresser was also in there. So I got those all cleaned and stuff put in the bedroom. I got my dining room table up. Right now, it's just kind of sitting over here by my books, as you can see. And then I got that Snoopy blow mold. I cleaned that off because that was just sitting out here. And that'll go in my Christmas storage stuff. But it's just, so yesterday I felt good. I got a lot of that furniture stuff out of the way. And then I was telling my boss, I was just kind of thinking, I don't want to overwhelm myself because it is a lot of stuff. Now, everything in the front, I stacked higher. Everything in the back is only like 2, maybe 3 boxes high. So it's not this high all the way back to the wall. But it's still a lot of stuff. But it's one of those things where there's almost too much that you can be overwhelmed. So my plan is to do at least 3 to 5 boxes a day, depending on the size of the boxes, but that's like my minimum. So if I get a roll and I keep doing more, then that's fine. But I want to try to go through at least 3, and if they're smaller boxes, 5 boxes, and just kind of figure out what I'm keeping, what I'm getting rid of, and then what I need to kind of put aside. And everything was covered in so much dust. Some of that stuff is, I packed up my apartment, my last apartment, before my mom passed was in 2014. So there were boxes in the back of the storage unit that said Stacy Apartment 2014 on it. And then, because what I ended up doing is I stopped my apartment in 2014 and I moved back in with my mom. And then she was going through her surgeries on her hips and stuff like that. So then I moved back in with her to help take care of her. And then while that was still kind of going on is when she passed. So then we ended up, but she was selling her house at the time. So it was really kind of nice that we didn't have to go through all of that while we were still in shock. And everything was already in the storage unit. So, except for like what we had on hand. And then my sister and I, and my aunt was also staying at my mom's house at the time because my aunt had just sold her house after my grandmother died. So she moved in with my mom and they were looking at trying to see if they were going to get a place together or both get separate places, or it was like a whole thing. But my sister was also staying with us, bouncing between my mom and my dad's because she had just graduated college, and it was like, so she was also there to help out. But yeah, so when she passed, I ended up just going up and staying with my dad until I found my first place here in Fort Collins. So that's when I moved back to Fort Collins, because I actually was in Fort Collins until like 6th or 7th grade is when I moved to Milliken. So I came back to Fort Collins. But anyway, so I hadn't been in the storage unit since 2015. I might have gone in early 2016 when we were kind of sorting through stuff, when my sister shortly after moved to Buffalo, Wyoming, which she is now back in Fort Collins, which is crazy. We went through originally and we kind of divvied stuff up between me and my sister and my brother, and then we had a huge donation pile and a trash pile, and so we kind of went through stuff. But since then, so what, it's been in there 6 years untouched by me. So it'll be kind of interesting, and it'll hopefully not be as hard as it was back then, because it was still so close to her passing and still the urge to keep everything I could. But I feel like now I've gone farther in my grief with my mom, and just kind of my mindset on what I want to keep has changed. And I've amassed stuff since then. Because I was buying things that I knew were in the storage unit, but I couldn't get in the storage unit because the first couple of years that I was in Fort Collins, I didn't have a car because I had donated mine because it was just kind of junk. And so we donated it for parts to one of the kids' places that always asks for like old cars that they can sell for money or whatever. And then I was driving my mom's van because I was basically her chauffeur everywhere with her surgeries and whatnot. And then that was still on loan with the bank or whatever, so we just gave the van back because we couldn't afford to just buy it outright at that point. So yeah, it was tough. It was hard. I did most of it myself. The first load, I asked my boss if she could bring me a dolly from work, but she had a dolly at home. Just the little foldable one, and she actually ended up helping me unload that first truck, which I'm super, super grateful for. And I'm very lucky that she ended up helping, because by the time I got back with the second load, which was another thing I was freaking about, because I wanted to take one load, but because I didn't really pack it well at first, because I didn't think there was going to be that much stuff, I ended up having to go back for a second load, because then I had all my stuff in the back of the storage unit from my old apartment. But I had everything from my mom's, and that was my mom's in the first load. So there wasn't much in the second load, but I still had to take a second load without rearranging things. But I got the truck back to Home Depot at 8:52 is when I pulled into the parking lot, and they closed at 9. because they're in their winter hours right now. And I was just like, oh, just done. But I only ended up spending like $160, maybe a little bit more with gas and stuff. And that saves me $300 a month for the storage unit. It was a lot cheaper, being in the small town where I was living. But they actually just sold to a bigger corporation. So of course prices went up, and you don't get like the small town deal anymore. So I do feel better now that at least everything is out. That feels like closing of another thing. It was definitely hard the first time I drove into Milliken, because I hadn't been to Milliken since everything kind of happened, and it was just weird because in a sense it felt like I had driven that road, the highway that goes into Milliken, so many times. It felt like I was going home because nothing had changed. The only thing that changed is now there's a couple stoplights where 257 goes out, like where there's a highway intersection, and now there's a couple stoplights there. That is the only thing that is different. I'm sure if I went into town more, there would have been differences, but the storage unit was on the outskirts of town, and it was just really weird. And it feels like this is like the final closing of that chapter of my life, because I have no need to ever go back to Milliken outside of if I'm in the area and want to drive by the house, or who knows, I could end up back in that small town for some reason or another, but I have no pressing need to ever go back there. And that was kind of weird. It's kind of weird. And yeah, and I had a couple moments where I broke down crying, freaking out in the storage unit just because of the situation and the stress of the situation, and just but yeah, so I'm rambling on way longer than I meant to say. So please excuse the giant mess of boxes. Hopefully over the clips over the next, hopefully just a couple weeks. I'm really hoping to kind of work on a lot of it during the weekends, but you will see things kind of slowly go away. Tonight I actually have stuff on the other side. I was running out of space when I was doing the last load, so I ended up just putting stuff in front of my front door, and I've been leaving out of my back door, which is quicker to the parking lot anyway, because I literally park like right here up against my back door. But I need to get things undone because we potentially might have some snow coming in tomorrow, or at least colder weather, and I have a bunch of boxes blocking my coat closet. I have my vest out, but because I was wearing my vest, but I need my heavier coat. I need potentially my snow boots. So that'll kind of be tonight's plan, is to try to do the boxes around that area. Although there's definitely more than 5, but we'll see how far I get. But that is the goal for tonight's boxes. But yeah, so let's just get talking about books, because I have a lot to talk about, and I did not expect to talk about the storage unit so far, for so long. But, I haven't really talked to anybody else about it, to my boss. I kind of mentioned I was going to my brother and my sister, and I knew my sister was working, but I haven't really heard from my brother. We've texted a couple times since I moved out from their house, but it's been pretty much dead silent. Like, the only thing that they texted me about mostly was related to cheese, because Sarah works at the vet office, which is my brother's girlfriend, where cheese goes. So that was kind of like a have to respond situation. So I don't know. Or if, I don't know. Things are just weird. And I was hoping they wouldn't be weird, because they didn't seem like didn't seem like, I know things were stressful, but it didn't seem like it was that bad of a situation, because I was trying to be overly conscientious of them and their space and how they do things. And I don't know, but maybe there were things that I didn't know going on with them, where they were frustrated with me that was never shared with me or something. I don't know. But anyway, Books. I did finish A Court of Silver Flames over the weekend. I ended up kind of powering through on Saturday and finishing the last like 500 pages. I mean, 5 stars. 5 amazing, wonderful stars. This book, I mentioned in last week's vlog how I was really connecting to Nesta, and the way that Nesta kind of hits her rock bottom and then builds herself back up, and the support of Cassian and the Valkyrie friend group that she creates. And I just loved it because she felt so separate from her own family and how her family had created, like Elaine and Feyre had created this found family, so to speak. And she felt just kind of ostracized and like she didn't belong with that newfound family. And I loved just the natural way that she just kind of ended up creating her own family and her friend group, and just finding the people that understood and supported her for her and didn't have any preconceived judgments or expectations or anything else piled on it. They really just loved Nesta for Nesta. And I mean, it broke my heart when she was constantly thinking about these new friends. I'm like tearing up just thinking about it, where she was just like, they like me now, but what if they know me as everybody else knows me? They're not going to like me because nobody else likes me. And this book made me cry so much. I love Nesta. I love Cassian. And I am very excited that it seems like Azriel is not going to be paired with Elaine. It kind of seemed like those might be vibes happening in Echo War. And I know that it's a popular pairing online because I've seen a lot of artwork for it. I try not to read any spoilers, but I see artwork on Instagram. And I didn't like that. And one thing that I noticed that I mentioned during the live show, that it didn't seem like anybody else kind of realized, or at least they didn't vocalize that, oh, I never thought of that or anything like that. When Nesta does her magic to save Feyre and also changes her internal bodiness so that she can have babies with wings, Elaine does not have the same thing happen to her. Now, it could be it's just not explicitly told to us, but it's not mentioned that Elaine has her body shifted around too, which makes me think whether Elaine gets paired with Lucien or not, she's not going to be with Azriel. Because if she was going to also be with someone and needed her physiology changed to have babies safely with Azriel or another Illyrian person, that would have been done and taken care of at the same time. I mean, it still could be, and that's just another situation. But I really hope Azriel gets paired with Gwen. I love them. I want a book for Eris. I want Lucien to get his happy ending, whether it's Elaine or not. And yeah, I cannot wait to see what Sarah has next. Like, I know I kind of glossed over the last 500 pages because there's a lot that happens, but I absolutely loved this and adored this, and I don't know where I'm gonna put it in. I do plan on doing a SJM along like wrap up and ranking of my favorites of the books. After we get through the last one, I cannot believe there's only one Sarah J. Maas book left in the read-along. I guess she has another book that wasn't a part of the read-along that was like Catwoman or something like that. But what am I going to do without having a new SJM book to read every month? I might have to start doing some rereads. But yeah, so 5 amazing stars, and I loved it. As for reading challenges that I applied this to, I did go ahead and just put this on Winter's Kiss bingo board number 3. I'm filming this on Tuesday, the last day of February, which is the last day of Winter's Kiss. So I'm obviously not going to complete it, but I applied it to Grumpy Sunshine. So just for fun. This works for Read What You Own. For Guildathon, I am able to use this for last in the series. However, because we know, or it's pretty much assumed, that this is not the end of A Court of Thorns and Roses, what happens is this is the last published book in an ongoing series. So instead of the 15 points for being the last book, it is worth 10 points. And then plus the points of the other books. So that's more than the 5 points for applying it to a prompt, which is great. And then I also went ahead and applied this to Pharaoh Feb because I'm treating Pharaoh Feb as all month long in February. And I use this for Friends to Lovers because I feel like even though they're mates, I feel like they definitely become kind of like frenemies to friends to lovers. And I mean, I'm kind of fudging it, but that's like the only one that it worked for that it didn't already have applied to it. So yep, there's that. I finished that like with 20 minutes to spare with the live show on Sunday. And then Sunday night, I was feeling more pliable enough that I ended up taking a bath. And I put a crap ton of Epsom salt in it to try to help with soreness. And today on Tuesday, I'm feeling great. My shoulders are still a little sore, but otherwise I'm feeling fine, which is great. But anyway, I needed to pick up I wanted to pick up something on my Kindle to read while I was in the bath. And I was kind of debating on what I wanted to read. And then I was like, I only have 2 prompts left for the second bingo board of Winter's Kiss. Or I only had 4 prompts left at that point. So I ended up picking up a couple novellas that would fulfill some of those. So the first one I picked up, which I came across randomly, was His Sunshine by Megan Wade. This is the first book in her Candles and Curves series. And this is set in, I can't remember the name of the town, but it's a small town. And a couple of her other series are also set in this town. So I haven't read these other books by her. I've read a couple of Megan Wade books off and on. She's a fun palate cleanser author for me, where it's just a quick, sweet, insta-love novella, and it just kind of is a good like reset, which I definitely needed after Silver Flames. But this was cute. So this is Candles and Curves. So what happens is they have what's called the Soul Wink Society in this town, and they're all people who just have a knowing when they meet their husband or their partner or whoever, and they, like, everybody's paired up in this town pretty much, it seems like. So they were trying to find other ways to give people and like matchmake and give other people the chance to meet their soul wink, is what they're calling it. And so one of the members pulls these special gems from a lake nearby, or rocks or gems or something like that, and is making candles with them and selling them around. So our heroine, Ava, her favorite candle at Bath and Body Works is been discontinued, and so she has been buying lots of different similar style candles online, and she ends up buying one of these magic candles, loves the way it smells, finds it out it's made from a small town that's only like an hour or a couple hours away from where she works in the big city, and plans a little mini weekend vacation to come, and the name of the candle is like the name of the small town. So she's just like, oh, I gotta go and see if the small town really smells like this candle and get more candles and check it out. And she ends up accidentally rear-ending Duke's truck. Duke is the hero, and then she's trying to leave a note, and she somehow accidentally breaks off his windshield wiper. But they have their knowing, and so she ends up falling in love with him. I did not know this. I didn't really read the blurb. I just saw it was the first book in a series, and I've read a couple of Megan Wade's books. So they're all kind of have a similar premise. Most of her heroines are curvy. Sometimes her heroes are also on the curvier side. Or BV, I guess. But this one is not. He's one of the more muscly. He's big and he's a muscly, but he is like 48 and she's 29. So I was not expecting like super age gap. But yeah, it was insta love. She's a super klutz. Like they go out on a date that first night, and she opens the door into her nose and like breaks her nose, like blood everywhere, horror scene type stuff. And then her entire face is swollen. She's got black eyes. And I was just like, so it's not like cute klutzy, like it's klutziness to like the extreme degree, which is crazy. But I thought it was cute. I thought it was fun. It was just kind of exactly what I was needing. I rated this 3.5 stars, but I did round it up to 4 stars on Goodreads. But yeah, as for reading challenges, for Winter's Kiss Bingo Board number 2, this worked for under 100 pages. This worked for Read What You Own. And this also worked for Gildathon, and I applied this to Turn Up the Heat, which is the prompt for Read a Romance. And then I went on, and then I also picked up another Megan Wade. Now, this one, I knew I had, so at this point I had 3 prompts left for Winter's Kiss number 2. One of them was holiday decor on cover. So I was looking for a Megan Wade with holiday stuff on the cover. So I knew she had a Halloween one. So what I picked up was Tricks in the Night, which is the 8th book in the Hot Halloween Nights multi-author series. However, this has since been recovered and applied to her Sugar Curves series. So this is now Hell's Bells and Taco Shells, which the new title doesn't really make sense to me. And this is the 6th book in Sugar Curves. But what's interesting is when you download this from KU, this is how it comes now. But this is the cover page, but then the title page still says Tricks in the Night. So she just like changed the cover and where it's sat in the series. But I'm going with the Tricks in the Nights cover because that has the spiderweb spookiness that works for the holiday decor stuff. So this is New Age, which I just picked it up. I didn't read the blurb on this one either. So this is Lila and Devlin, and Lila is a senior in college. She usually does Halloween festivities with her roommate and best friend, but her brother really, really wants her to go to this party with him. He's also a senior, but that is because their mother got sick and he kind of slowed down how many classes he was taking a semester to help take care of her and things like that. So he ended up being a senior with her at the same time, but their mom is fine. She's all healthy now. And she arrives at this place, and it is a really weird house. It didn't really make sense to me why this kind of was set up as it was, but it's not a party. It's a haunted house. However, at least what we see here is it's a haunted house with just one room, and basically there's a zombie horde in this room. So you get pushed in by like a bodyguard, and then there's zombies that like reach you and they like pull you through the room, and then till you get to the exit. And so you're just in a giant mass of people acting like zombies and then you're out. I don't know if there's actually more to this haunted house, but we see this one room and it doesn't really make sense to me. But so she gets kind of stuck into being there with her brother, but her brother's running late. And then it was actually a setup by her brother because his good friend from class, Devlin, he convinced to go there. And he is doing this as a setup because they both hate horror movies. And Lila specifically is terrified of zombies. Like, she gets shoved into this room by the bodyguard dude at the front door, and she immediately starts like crying and like completely flipping out and hyperventilating. Like this is not a funny trick. And I did not like the blasé way that her brother handled this. And she forgave him, but was like giving him crap for it a lot afterwards. But I was just like, you like went through emotional damage. Like, the way that she reacted was not something simple. And as myself, who cannot handle horror movies, I get freaking nightmares from horror movie teaser trailers. Like, I cannot handle horror. I was like, if I was put in a situation like that where, and I've been through like haunted houses and stuff and been fine, but it's always been with people. But if I was like for me, snakes are my big thing. Like, oh my gosh, just thinking about it, I just get the shivers. But if I was forced into a room with like snakes, even if they were like blocked out somehow so they weren't dangerous, but I was just forced into a room with snakes or something, I can't. Oh my god, I'm just like freaking myself out right now. I shouldn't have said that. I mean, I couldn't even make it through the reptile section at the aquarium where it's like 90% snakes. Like, I full on, like, there's flight or fight or freeze. I definitely froze. And one of my friends literally had to like drag me through that section and put me elsewhere because I was just like, I cannot handle snakes. I just cannot. And then everyone was like, I didn't realize you were that afraid of snakes. And it's like, I told you, I didn't want to go in there. But anyway, so Devlin had ended up going through before her, and he was kind of near the exit when she gets in, and he hears her screaming for help. And so he kind of rescues her, and then they end up hanging out. And then she finds out it's a setup, but she is very, very insecure. There's a big conflict here about her thinking that it's a setup and he's doing this because her brother paid him to go out with her, kind of thing. I don't know. It was kind of a weird, and it was like very insecure on her part, and she was making weird judgments. So I also rated this one 3.5 stars because there were some aspects I enjoyed. And I enjoyed it about the same as the other one, but I rounded down to 3 stars on Goodreads, so I definitely think I like the first one a little bit more, but I would give them both a 3.5, although now that I'm talking about it, maybe I'll drop it down to 3 stars on my spreadsheet instead of 3.5. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to drop it down to 3 stars. But yeah, so anyway, the things that I applied this to: for Winter's Kiss 2, like I mentioned, holiday decor on cover. This also worked for the Starbucks quarterly challenge for matcha green tea latte, and one of the prompts for that is title with the words starting with M, G, T, or L. Now, I could have done this earlier, but I felt like it was a cop-out to use the. So this one has tricks, so it's not like a filler word kind of a thing for me. So I applied it to that. This also worked for Read What You Own, and then for Guildathon, I also applied this for Turn Up the Heat, which once again is read a romance. Then other book stuff. So yesterday at work, I knew I had 2 prompts left for Winter's Kiss number 2. One of them is fake dating relationship, and so I have picked up the first book in the Union of the Rake series by Eva Lee, which is my fake rake. Her fake rake, something fake rake. I am currently 60% of it the way through it, a little bit over that. I only have like 3-4ish hours left in it. So my plan is tonight to finish listening to the audiobook of that, and while I work on a couple boxes. I'm enjoying it somewhat so far. It's definitely like, so we've got Grace and we've got Sebastian, and they're both science-minded. I am really enjoying the like glow up and makeover of Sebastian, turning him into, because he's not of the ton, he's not in society. He has friends in society, but he was able to like go to school, and he's an anthropologist, so he's very learned. And Grace herself is really into like reptiles, and so she's very science-minded as well. And I'm enjoying him kind of like finding his confidence in who he is, and like learning how to be like find his swagger, and I'm really enjoying Sebastian's character a lot. Grace, I don't know, sometimes when she gets in her science stuff, we're talking full on science words, and because it's an audiobook, I'm just kind of like tuning out until I hear the science words stop. And it's cool, but it's just not keeping my interest as much when she goes into those modes. And then I'm also kind of getting frustrated with her, because the reason why they're fake dating is because she's turning him into a rake so that she can seem desirable, because her father has a health scare, and he's just like, you really need to think about you being this blue stocking and not wanting to get married, because you really want to have to rely on family members' support for the rest of your life. So he kind of urges her that way to kind of think about getting married, and so she decides she really wants to get married to another person in society who is more science-minded, that she is friendly with. I don't know, they're definitely more than acquaintances, but they're not quite friends. So she convinces Sebastian, who she is very friendly with, to become this rake persona, and she can be seen around town with him, and that will make her seem more desirable to the other gentlemen in the ton. And so she's hoping to use this relationship to get this other guy's attention. So kind of a normal setup for a fake dating situation. However, I don't like, she talks about how in her mind this other guy is perfect for her, but all of the things that she's describing about this other man are also in Sebastian. Plus, she's very, very attracted. I mean, from the start, she is very attracted to Sebastian. Maybe she isn't realizing it, and so as we've kind of gone along, she's getting more and more attracted to him, probably because they're spending more time together, and she's seeing him kind of in a different light. In these different situations that they're kind of being thrust into, instead of just at the library and at science things. Now they're like going to dancing lessons and taking curricle rides and going to events around town and stuff like that. So she's seeing a different side of him, plus he's kind of gaining his confidence, and I'm just kind of confused on why she's so set on this other guy. And I get that that's kind of the premise, but I mean, we're at 60%. I would almost wish that we be moving on, and like her still not trying to go for this other guy, because she like forgets about this other guy, and then somebody will mention something, and then she'll be like, oh yeah, I'm trying to attract him. And I almost just wish internally she would just be over that other guy. And maybe she's just playing along because that was the original deal, is that they were just gonna do this fake dating situation. So we'll see. Right now, I'm kind of sitting at like a 3.54 stars with it. 4 stars more because I'm really loving Sebastian. And we'll see. This is the first Eva Lee that I've read. I've heard amazing things about her. I want to say this was one of the first Rake Appreciation Society books, but I wasn't able to this was actually when I first this book, I think, or whenever they were doing the Eva Lee book, was like the first or the second month, I feel like, of Rake Appreciation Society, but I didn't get it read in time. So, or I didn't read it in time, obviously, because I'm reading this one now. But I didn't manage to get it for that first meeting, but the following month, it was the first month I participated in Rake Appreciation Society. So yeah, I'm happy to finally get to an Eva Lee. I have some of her books, her newer series, because I've heard really good things about that. But yeah, so I'm enjoying it so far. We'll see how things kind of end up later tonight. And then as for the other book I'm reading, the last prompt I had for Winter's Kiss 2 was a recommendation from Shelby. So I spent a long time going through her Instagram and her 4 and 5 star. She has a list that she has on Goodreads that she separated out from just what she's read. And so I kind of went through those to try to find an author that she recommends a lot, or a series that she's recommended that has a novella. And so I ended up picking Christmas in Quincy, which is the prequel book to Devney Perry's Eden's series. So this is a Christmas novella. It's under 150 pages. So I am about 34% of the way through it, and I'm interested in it so far. I've read one other Devney Perry book before, and I wasn't a super big fan of it. So this is the second book I've read from her so far. And I know it's just the 2 books, but the 2 books that I have picked up from her have had their mothers being murdered. And the first Devney Perry book I read, which was the first book in, and it's been renamed, but it was like the Steel King series or something. It's her used to be a motorcycle. They used to have the skull covers. Because it had the G word in it. And then it's been renamed. But anyway, I read that book during the weekend of the anniversary of my mother's death. And so that book I really, really struggled with. And I think I ended up rating it like a 2 stars because I just did not like the way that some of that stuff was handled. But I know a lot of people love the series, and so it was definitely time and place for me. I might go back and try the rest of the series, but I never really had an interest to read more in that particular series from her. But I have a couple reading challenges going right now that have try an author you didn't previously like, or give an author a second chance or something like that. So this will work for that too. But anyway, so this is, I don't even remember her name. I know Austin is the man. What is the woman's name? Cleo. So Cleo is the daughter of a billionaire tech mogul dude, and he is, since her mother had been murdered, he has been overly protective of her, constantly bodyguards, constantly being watched, and she owns her own bakery. And a few months ago, she kind of had her last straw, and she was like, you need to get people to back off. And her stepmother and her don't really have a good relationship, it seems. I don't really know much outside of, it seemed like her mother and her father really focused on family, especially during the holiday time. And now her mother is all about like the glitz and the glam and throwing parties and soirees and, being a part of high society and the elite and throwing all these things all Christmas week, and she is over it. She doesn't enjoy it. It seems like she doesn't have like a good relationship with her brother, because her brother is kind of greedy, half brother, I think, and they're all about the money and the status. So she's chose to spend her Christmas. She's taking like a 3-day vacation. So she's going to spend Christmas Eve and Christmas in the small town of Montana. I think it's called Quincy. And she arrives and she's kind of spending her first night there, and Austin shows up, and Austin is the owner of the security company that is working for her father, and he's basically tasked to bring her back home to California, and she doesn't want to. So not much has happened. I'm only like 34% of the way in, but I'm intrigued to see where this is gonna go, because I know that Devney Perry, especially under the Devney Perry name, likes to kind of do more romantic suspensey type situations. But I know this is supposed to be a Christmas novella, so I don't really know what's gonna happen. I'm kind of hoping it stays more on the cute Christmassy side and we just get them hanging out, maybe snowed in together or some situation. Who knows? I didn't read the blurb. I just saw that Shelby had recommended a book in this series. So I went with this one because this is a part of that series. So yeah, I'm hoping tonight to finish that. It shouldn't take me very long because I have probably under 100 pages at this point, or maybe less. I don't know. So yeah, I'm planning on finishing those 2 books tonight. So there's that. Oh my gosh. This is a really long clip. I am sorry. And hopefully the rest of this week I will be able to do really fast clips. So let's kind of do the quest calendar real quick. And then I do have some things I bought that I was going to show you. So I have been playing the quest calendar. 2023's theme is the Void Spark Chronicle, which is space opera, sci-fi themed, super fun. If you have not seen me play quest calendar before, this is a daily calendar with Saturdays and Sundays combined that is based off of tabletop role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, that kind of thing. This is D20 based. So the way that this works is you have your page, and here's what Friday's page was. So usually there's some fun artwork, and then there will be some script text, which is kind of what's going on in the story, and then there will be a box with some block style font, and that will be the mechanics of how we are going to play out the story. And then if it's a combat page, there'll also be like a table that says how many rolls, like attack damage, how many people we're fighting, how many rounds it goes, and things like that. And then all of the information that we need to play the game is on the back of the previous day's page, which is great because we don't get any spoilers that way. And I know I'm rushing through this fast, but I'm trying to catch up. We have joined a crew, and so we're about to go on our second mission. We've just been assigned one. I am playing as Zarilla Tur. She is an Urzen Mystic. Urzen is her race, and Mystic is her class. So she's kind of like the Jedi Force wielder type of character that was offered. And this is the Hero Book Companion that is offered, which is great. And it is in landscape style this year. And then it also has in the front our ship character information. So there is all that. I have quest calendars linked down below. Plus, they are a Colorado-based company, which is great, so I can support local, even though they're out of Colorado Springs, which is a couple of hours away from me. But it's still in Colorado, which is fun. All right, so let's just get into it because we have 3 days to do. So on Friday, we were in the cockpit, headed to the area that our new mission is going to take place in. Okay. Oh, wow. All right. So it looks like there are some things that we're going to have to be shooting either out of our trajectory or something's going on. Okay, so you arrive in the system near the planet Athelia. The alarms on the bridge immediately begin to sound off. Looking at the monitors, you spot incoming missiles that are locked onto you. Okay, so there are 3 missiles, so we'll have to roll an aim for each and possibly as well an invasion. Okay, so I need to flip to the ship character sheet. Now, the way that for the ship works is you roll a D100. So you roll your D10 plus your percentile or your D100 die. and then that gives you your 10th digits and then your single digits. And then we add whatever is going on here. So for missile number 1, I guess we'll read our description first. Engage in ship combat. All right, so missile number 1. So our aim is a plus 15. So we'll add 15 to whatever we roll. And that is a 62. So that gives us 77. Okay, if your aim roll is 60 or more, your shot hits and you take no damage. Perfect. So on to missile number 2. And that is a 47. So that is 62 for aim. And for missile number 2, we needed 50 or more. So our shot hits. On to missile number 3. And that is a 72, so that gives us 87 total. And on this one, we needed 65 or more, so perfect. So we hit all 3 of the missiles, and we take no damage. All right, collect 1 credit for each missile you hit, so we'll get 3 credits. You quickly dive towards the planet Ethelia. All remaining missiles burn up in the atmosphere as they chase you to the surface. There is no ship in sight to indicate what fired upon you, but Captain Kalis gives everyone a warning that this mission will be more dangerous than you were warned about. Great. Okay. And then the other thing they do is they have, for 2023, added a new element to the game on the weekend pages called Sunday Lottery. So what that is if you choose to do so, you can roll a d6, which is the normal die. And if you roll a 1 or a 2, you'll lose some money. But if you roll a 3 or higher, you'll gain some credits. So it's worth it to at least try and see what happens. So I rolled a 1, so we lose 2 credits. So right now we're at net plus 1 credit. But I'm going to wait to adjust my character sheet until we get through the other 2 pages. So once again, that was Saturday, Sundays. So let's move forward and see what yesterday, Mondays was. Oh, okay. Looks like either we crashed the ship or where we landed is a crashed ship. Interesting. Okay. Nayli lands the Karnak at the coordinates you were sent. Oh, where you find a crashed ship. So number 1, investigate the scene of the crash. And number 2, decipher the corrupted log files. Interesting. Okay, fun. So let me switch back to my character sheet from the ship. All right. So number 1, investigate the scene of the crash. This is an intellect roll, reminder, investigator. We do not have investigator, and our intellect is a 0, so it's just a straight d20 roll. And that is a 16. So if the result is 15 or more, the pilot is nowhere in sight, but there are tracks headed in a southern direction. The ship is broadcasting a distress call. All logs, except for 1, have been erased. The remaining log is a recording from the pilot, Alex, but the data file is corrupted. You find 1 meal ration and 4 credits among the crash. Cool. All right. And then number 2, decipher the corrupted log files. So another intellect roll, but this time we can use our computer skill, which we do not have. So just another straight d20 roll. All right, and that is a 2. However, I'm going to use our time step ability, which is once per page, re-roll any die roll and take the new result. So, I mean, we got to roll better than a 2 this time, right? And that is a 10. Okay. So if the result is between 8 and 14, you can fix some of the data file enough to hear the following. Call sign Alex, emergency land, shot by a, be warned, they're real, missing, please send help, before. The transmission ends with a partial set of coordinates. Gain a +2 bonus to your roll on the next page. Okay, cool. All right, so there is Mondays. So now let's do today's. So once again, there's the crash we found. let's see what today's page is. Okay, so it looks like we are going to head out, try to find this missing pilot dude. This is a really pretty like desert world, which is fun. You head out on foot to try to track down the missing pilot. Simple enough description for what we're doing today. So A is travel south across the plains, or B is travel east across the jutting rocks. So both will be a wisdom roll, reminder, survivalist, and piloting. We do have survivalist, I believe. Yes. So that will give us a +2. And then our wisdom is a +3. So let's see if there's any other descriptions. Okay, I know that the dude chose to go south, but we're in a desert area, so I feel like going along the rocks would potentially able to find us like some shade or some covered areas to rest as we're traveling. So I'm going to take the B option, which is travel east across the jutting rocks. Okay, the jutting formations in this rocky terrain offer shade as you travel. Perfect. All right, so now we will do our roll. So our wisdom is a +3, survivalist gives us a +2, and then we also get our +2 bonus from the previous page. So that is a total of +7. All right, and that is a 13, so 20 total. All right, if the result is 15 or more, you safely make your way over the terrain and have no issues staying cool in the shade. You find evidence that you are on the same path as the pilot you are tracking. You must consume 1 meal ration on your journey. But we found one, so that is perfect. Okay, alrighty, so there is that. We are all caught up on the quest calendar, and I will add the credits and whatever to my character sheet in a minute. So the other thing I need to do is I have some things to unbox for you, but I did not grab my knife. So let me go grab my knife and I will be right back. I'm back. I grabbed my knife. So what I have to show you is when I was unpacking my stuff a couple weeks ago, I had a really big SpongeBob piggy bank and it broke. So there was change everywhere. Now I had a little bowl that I kept like at my entrance table where I put like my basket with my keys and stuff. And there was a little bowl that I would just throw change in there. And then I have a Stegosaurus piggy bank that also had money in it. But the SpongeBob one was so big that I couldn't get the change to fit anywhere else. So I thought, okay, you know, I'll just go turn it in and we'll just see how much is in there. So I thought it was going to be like $50 maybe if I was lucky. And it ended up being over $130. So when I was looking up, like I could take it to my bank, but they wanted everything rolled and like pre-separated, and I was like, that's not happening. But there is a Coinstar place, quite a few places around me, and the local Safeway, which is not too far away, allows you to, you can get cash at any of these places, but there's a couple different convenient fees, or you can get a e-gift card for a couple of different places, and there's no fees taken out, so you get the full amount in this e-gift card. I specifically wanted the Amazon one, but there's at the Walmart that's like on the other side of the street here, or I guess technically it's not the street, it's the retention pond. They don't offer the Amazon option. So I went to my local Safeway and they had the Amazon option. So I got a huge gift card, and then I had some gift card stuff on there from that desk that I returned that was missing pieces. And I had saved some money to buy some books after I moved that was like gift cards from my birthday and Christmas and stuff, but I ended up using them on household furnishings and other items. So I thought this is perfect. I'm going to go through and I'm just going to have a little mini shopping spree. So I gave myself a little bit of a budget. Now I wanted to buy a lot of indie romances. However, they're a lot more pricier. So I tried to find books that were on sale or mass market size so they were cheaper so I could get more for my money. So we have those 2 boxes to unbox. And then outside of that, what came out today that I got in paperback is the special edition version of Barbarian's Prize. So one of the Ice Planet Barbarian books. So I'm super excited to continue to collect these gorgeous covers. And we're getting kind of close to where I have in the indie published books. So I might have to make a purchase of the next 4 or 5 of the indie ones because those get taken down when this version comes out. So I might have to get a little farther ahead than where I currently am. So that was outside of this big purchase that I made. So let's go through and see. Oh, that's all ripped. And this isn't just books, so this will be fun. One of the I can't find a couple boxes, and one of them has all of my strainers for the kitchen. So I got a little 3-pack, and these are the collapsible silicone strainers. I thought this would be perfect since I'm kind of hurting on bottom and like bowl counter space. So this has 3 different sizes, but I thought that would be perfect because they pop out and then they're easy to store and they are dishwasher safe. So it seems like this is like a good thick plastic, and what's silicone is the actual like bowl portion here, but then the bottom is that thick plastic again. So that's great. So yeah, I'm excited for those because I made some mac and cheese a couple weeks ago and I was like, I don't have any strainers. So that has been super fun. And then I did get a couple more Jackie Lau books because I saw that they were on sale. So I picked up her favorite Rebound, which is book 4 in Cider Bar Sisters, which I cannot wait to see. She still hasn't announced what the next book is. Like, she did her Kobo original for Valentine's Day, but I haven't seen what her next series is after Cider Bar Sisters. So I'm still waiting for that announcement. Jackie Lau is one of my favorite authors, and I always kind of, whenever I have some like free money, I always check because every so often her indie published books will go on sale for like $4 to $6. So I grabbed the ones that were currently on sale. And there's that one. And then I picked up Fong Brothers book 2, which is Bidding for the Bachelor. And this is actually one of the series I have not read from her. And this one I think is MM. I think one of them's I think if this is one of her new ones. Yeah, and if I remember correctly, one of them's gay and the other one's bi. But this is an MM from her. But I have not read the first Fong Brother either. But I'm very excited to have those. And then I did also get 2 of the figure packs for the board game Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth. And there has since been a third. I didn't realize it at the time. But there's a 3rd figure pack. And I still need the 2 expansions, but this one's all ripped. But this is Dwellers in Darkness figure pack. It came all ripped, which is unfortunate, but I'm going to just take it apart and try to fit it in my other box. So this is a board game by Fantasy Flight. And then this was this was the first figurine pack that's been on my wish list for forever. And this is Villains of Eriador. So I'm pretty excited. So this one has 3 new enemies: Adarin, Golgotar, and Kolfang. And 6 new trinkets, and then 3 title cards. That's exciting. I'm a big fan of this game. It's super fun. And then this one has Ursa, Supplicant of Morgoth, and Ollie. And this has 3 title cards, 3 item cards, and 3 trinket cards. Super fun. And now that I have my dining room table, oh, I cannot wait till I get my dining room table set, and then I can like play, like I played Lord of the Rings Journeys to Middle Earth on my little card table, but I very quickly ran out of space because it's like a tile playing map as you play. But I'm very excited to play more. Okay, and then I've got another box. So, okay, and then after receiving a giveaway at the end of last year from Minerva Spencer, I got a couple books to complete one of the series. So I picked up Scandalist. It was in here, so it's all like bent because I kind of stuck it in here funky. But this is a part of the Outcast series, and I have the second book in it. So this is the third book. And then I also picked up the first book, which is Dangerous. So I now have this trilogy, which I'm super excited for. And then, all right, I have, oh, I didn't realize I got the first one too. And then Pregnant by the Playboy. So this is Fong Brothers book 1. So now I have the duology, which is great. So I can read these at any time now. I'm running out of space here to put books. Okay, and this one's all wrapped. And then I got Peter Baugh's book that he released over the summer, late summer, early fall. If I can rip it open, I'll show it to you. Peter Baugh writes for The Athletic, I think, but he is one of the big guys, beat writers that covers the Avalanche, who is the local hockey team, Colorado Avalanche. If you did not know, I am a huge fan, but he actually wrote a book called Force of Nature, and it's basically the path to them winning the Stanley Cup last year. And I am a big fan of Peter Baugh. I follow him on Twitter. I think he's great. I've heard amazing things about this book from other Avalanche fans, and I thought it'd be fun. There's a couple other Stanley Cup run books that are out there. I have one other that's on my wish list, but this one I was most intrigued for because it's Peter Baugh. Oh, and the foreword's by Emily Kaplan, who's one of the ESPN female analyst people, and she does a lot of the special clips and stuff like that. And it looks like there's pictures in here. Ah, that's fun. They're black and white, but it's, yeah, I don't know when I'll read it, but just having it on my shelf is just gonna make me so happy. So at some point I'll read it, probably when I miss it, probably over the summer when I'm missing hockey, because that's when I tend to read the most hockey romances and hockey books, is when I don't actively have hockey to watch on my TV. So very, very excited for this. And then I got Magic Stars, which is one of the novellas in the Kate Daniels series by Alona Andrews. This is one of their indie published ones, and I did not have this one. I want the rest of the Kate Daniels series in paperback. However, I'm trying to just purchase the indie ones new and find the traditionally published ones used. But if I can't find good used copies, eventually I'll probably just buy the new versions. But I needed this one. And because it's a novella, it was super cheap. And then I picked up Touched by Love by Eve Casey. This is the second book in her Hands duology. I have the first book. And I think now I have all of the books that she's published. I haven't read this one. This one's damaged too. My goodness. But I'm very excited for these. These ones kind of have, the series kind of has like light paranormal twists, but I'm very, very excited. I still need to read these. This duology, but I have the first one, so I need to get the second one, and this one was on sale as well. It was at a discounted price. And then the last item I purchased was, because I recently finished the series, I got Embers of Memory. So this is the Throne of Glass game. I mean, I didn't look at what kind of game, how it's supposed to be played, but I'm a board game person and I loved the series, so I just had to have it. I had to have it. And yeah. So it looks like it's a cooperative 2-player game set during the events of Kingdom of Ash. Working together, you must find the memories needed to strengthen Aylin's resolve against her own inner demons. Both players have a separate role to play in the young queen struggle, but are unable to speak to one another. You will need to communicate through the cards you play and the cards you take, testing the bond between you and your partner to its limit. I'll have to see if anybody is able to play this as a solo player, because I'd love to, although maybe I'll convince my sister to read the series and then I'll have her make her play this with me. But yeah, I'm very excited. I at least own it and I can't wait to open it up and look at the pretty artwork. And look at Rowan and Aylin on the back. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited. I just had to. I'm an SJM stan now, guys. I just am. And that's it. That's my fun purchase. I mean, I have one useful item. And this was actually an add-on that I got later because I was looking at the price of strainers, and then I was like, I can get a 3-pack for less than the price of a nice strainer at Walmart, so I just got the silicone pack. But yeah, I got some fun books. I got a couple additions to my board games, and I'm excited for what I purchased. So yeah, that's it for this clip. It's very long. I'm sorry it's very long. I will try to keep the rest of this week super short, but I will see you hopefully tomorrow. Hello, happy Wednesday. I'm gonna try to make this as brief as possible. It is 10 o'clock at night and the Avalanche game just ended. They lost 6-5 to the New Jersey Devils, which is unfortunate that they couldn't at least tie it up. So the 6-game winning streak is over, but they're still doing like so freaking excellent right now. So yeah, I'm not too worried, and the Devils are one of the best teams in the East, so it is what it is. But I did finish books yesterday, so I did finish my Fake Rake. I'm really struggling on how I want to rate this. For Sebastian, I would give this like a 4 or a 4.5. However, Grace really kind of started to bother me, and I wasn't quite a big fan of the third act breakup and how that all went down. And so for her, honestly, I would give it like a 2.5. So I'm thinking about giving it a 3.5. But I feel like that's what I've been reading, like almost all of the books I've been reading lately. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give it 3.5. I loved Sebastian, and Grace really bothered me, especially when we come to the end, because yeah, he's proposing to her and he's kind of saying it's scientific and he's not like throwing out his emotions, but at this point she hasn't been receptive to his emotions at all. And so I just feel like when she felt so disappointed that like she was excited that he was proposing to her because he is the one she wanted to propose to her. However, he didn't do it in the way that she wanted, which I kind of have issues anyway. But instead of saying why, instead of pushing and saying, why do you want to marry me? Why have you changed your mind on being more than just friends? Like, she could have pushed him, but instead, what she says then is, oh, the guy that we've been trying to get like jealous or whatever to notice me, he proposed to me earlier today. That's what she says. And then later on, she's talking to somebody and she's complaining about how he rejected her. And I was like, oh, wait a second. You rejected him. Yes, he brought up it needs to be just friends, but it's that, oh God, I'm falling for you. We just did something stupid. We got intimate. I gotta shut myself off because I can't let you know how much I feel because I still think that you think that we're not in it together. So, like, it's normal fake relationship type stuff. So, while it's kind of annoying, that part didn't bother me as much, outside of the fact that when they're both in that tenuous situation, she could have pushed him to open up, and then she could have seen. And I also didn't understand, because if she's been friends with him for so long and now they're getting to know each other in a different way, how did she not realize that that was his, like, facade face? And I get she was hurt. But then when she's complaining about how he rejected her, I was like, girl, you rejected him. He proposed marriage to you. Was it in the way you wanted? No. But let's be honest, this is a historical romance, and this is one of the feminist type things that I really dislike with a lot of historical romances. I get we want to marry for love. And as like a romance reader, we want that type of relationship. However, this is where I get a little bit peeved at times when the heroine pushes too much against a man's proposal. Because let's be honest, especially like Grace, when it's talked about how she got like no people courting her, no proposals, although she ended up with 2 in the same day, weirdly enough. It's like, the whole point is for you to find a husband. This is why you're going out of your way. You are attracted to him. You like him. Take what you can get and then move on. So that was really frustrating for me. So yeah. But I loved Sebastian. So I'm going to give it... I think I'm gonna go with 3.5. If I wanted to be super silly, I'd probably go with like 3.75, but I'm gonna stick with 3.5. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll round up to 4, maybe I'll round down to 3 on Goodreads. I haven't quite decided yet, but I at least wrote 3.5 stars in the little box. Yeah, so I did look at the blurb for the next one, and the next one is another class difference. However, it's the woman that's a class difference. And I do want to continue the series because I've heard great things about the 3rd book, but I gotta say, I'm not the biggest fan of class difference, especially for historical romances. Even more so when it's the woman that's of the lower class. I'm just not a big fan of that. So, I don't know, but I enjoyed the Duke's. The Duke during this book is a side character, so I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening and when I end up picking it up. But I do eventually want to read most of Eva Lee's books. So, for my reading challenges, like I mentioned, this work, I picked this specifically up for Winter's Kiss 2 to cover the fake relationship romance square. This also worked as new to you author. So that gave me, I think, 4 new to me authors for February, which is great. This also worked for Read What You Own. And then for Gildathon, I was able to apply this to Alloy, which is pick up a book based on a combination of tropes. And I was specifically looking for a historical with fake dating and came across this one. And then I also finished Christmas in Quincy by Devney Perry, and I enjoyed this one. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was a great Christmas novella. The only reason I docked it down 4 or 5 is because I felt like there was so much emphasis in them finally admitting that they like each other and working through that little bit of tension, that I felt like once they kind of admitted it and ended up sleeping together and admitted their feelings, it was just like everything else left in the book that we were covering was just like crammed in. So I almost wish like either there was a few more pages or it was like lengthened, or the beginning part was compressed just so it was a little more balance of the before and after. But I have to say there was like a 2 years later epilogue, and that was pretty cute. But I wasn't, like I mentioned yesterday, I wasn't a big fan of the first Stephanie Perry book I read. So I'm definitely intrigued to read more of the series. This is interesting though, because the prequel novella is about Cleo and Austin, who are visiting Quincy, Montana, and spend their Christmas there. But I feel like the rest of the series is about like the people who run the inn that they stayed at and the Eden family. So we probably might not see very much of Austin. It was just an interesting that that's the prequel that kind of was leading into this situation. But I don't know if those characters were side characters from previous books of hers, so that was like a bridge book between different series or something. So I don't know, but I enjoyed it. Like I said, 4.5 stars. And yes, I'm reading a Christmas novella in the end of February, and I also read a Halloween novella. So, you know, you can pick up a holiday novella no matter what season or holiday it's based on at any time of the year and still can enjoy it. So, as for reading challenges, this I used for Shelby recommendation from Shelby, like I mentioned yesterday. So this officially finishes the second bingo board of Winter's Kiss 2. I got it in just under the deadline. So today is March 1st. Typically today starts Her Love Has Sprung. I'll link Shelby's Instagram down below. When I checked this morning, she hadn't posted any new prompts yet, but I know she had a baby before the new year, I think even before Christmas last year. So she hasn't been posting very much because she has a newborn, which is a-okay, but she still managed to post the Winter's Kiss stuff. So I don't know if it'll just be up a little bit later or if she's planning on doing it or not. So I just wanted to throw that out there, but I'll link her Instagram down below. If you'd like to join, typically the last few seasons, it'll run for 3 months. So we'll have March, April, May. I don't know why I just completely lost my train of thought there. And then the last few times she's been doing 3 different bingo boards. So we'll see what happens, but yeah. And then this also worked for Read What You Own. And then for Gildathon, I applied this to Got Burned, which is the first time I've been able to complete that prompt, which is give an author a second chance. So, and it was a second chance that turned out really well. So I'm glad for that. As for what I'm currently reading, nothing. I was gonna read during the Avalanche game, and that just didn't happen because it was a super crazy game. And then I was working on my March spread on my digital journal, so yeah, not much reading happened. I will probably pick back up Last Sacrifice, though, so I can get that done ASAP and get that returned back to the library. So, and I think I'm still only like 10% into it. It's been quite a few days since I've last read it, so I'll probably pick that up next. So let's do the quest calendar, and then I do have a couple more things to open from the mail with you. So yesterday we started traveling on the New World. I think it was Aurelia or something like that. So we're trying to find the pilot of the crashed plane. Oh, okay. Oh, it looks like we've got an alien firing at us. I mean, his coloring makes me think he's from this planet, but maybe he's not. Let's see. You step out from behind a rock formation and a shot from a blaster pistol nearly hits you. You spot an alien hiding behind some cargo for cover. So we're going to have 3 rounds of just straight attack and damage. All right. So just a brief refresher, our attack is a +5. Our damage is 2d8 +1. So let's just get to it. All right, so round number 1, that is a 2. You know what? And I'm going to go ahead and use time step and do do my reroll for the day, and hopefully that won't come back to bite us in the butt. And that is an 11, so that is 16 this time. So we needed 13 or more to hit the pilot. Perfect. So now we roll damage, and that is a 3 and 8 damage total. And we needed 6 or more to stun him. I don't think we've done stun this year or not when we've done when we fought creatures, but when they are stunned, that means they do not attack us, so we just move on to the next round. Instead, because we're fighting one guy for multiple rounds, we don't just kill him on the first round. So on to round 2. And that is a 7, so we are at a 12 to hit. I was just looking to see what we have 3 surges, and we can gain a +2 defense bonus for the page if we use 1 surge. So that's good to know, but let's look back at this. So that's a 17, not a 7. My goodness. So 22 to hit. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Okay. So, yeah, once again, we needed a 13, so I will roll damage. So another 3, weird. And another 3, so 7 total damage. That's weird. This time we needed 5 or more to stun him. So then on to our final round, round number 3. Okay, and that is a 13, so that is 18 to hit. Oh, and once again, we needed a 13 or more, perfect. So final damage. Another 3. We've rolled all 3s and a 4, and I'm shaking it up. And a 2, so that's 6 total damage there. So he is stunned for round number 3 as well. Okay. If you dealt a total of 15 damage or more, you defeated the pilot. Okay, so what did we do? It was a 3 and a 4, so that was 8 damage the first time. And the second time was 7. So yeah, we hit the 15 damage. Okay, so we have defeated him. The pilot throws his hands up and surrenders. So collect 1 credit for each round you stun the pilot. So we get 3 credits, and then collect additional 2 credits if you defeated him. So we get a total of 5 credits. Fun. And that is it for the quest calendar. So I will get those additional credits added to our character sheet in a little bit. So a couple of items. I have a new release that I bought a paperback for that came today, and I'm very excited for it. Oh, it's so pretty. And that is The Wolf and the Wallflower by Stacy Reed. This is her new release, and I actually saw today it released wide at first, and now it is available on KU, but I had to get a paperback copy because I love Stacy Reed, and I saw that the paperback was live. And I cannot wait to read this. I'm hoping that I will also be able to pick this up during March. So I will definitely be adding it to my TBR stack for the month. Very excited for that. And then Juliet Cross was doing a giveaway for some character art on Instagram. And I ended up being one of the people that won, which is super exciting. So I got that package today, and it should be Henry and Clara, which I'm super duper excited for. I'll take it out of the plastic so you can see it if you have not seen it. So this is the character art for book, the final book in the Stay About Spell series. So that'll be Grim and Barrett. So here we go. Oh, and it's even signed on the back. That's fun. So I now think I have everybody. I think I bought Jules and Ruben's artwork too. So I think I have everybody now. So I want to put together like a little collage and then hang all of that pretty artwork up, because that'll be it for the series. And then I also got one of the holographic Empress ink stickers, which is super fun. So I would definitely be turning this into a magnet and adding it to my stuff. And then the final thing is, I haven't really talked too much about it. I'm not a big like New Year's resolution person, but I do like to kind of set goals for myself. And for the last little while, I have been following some virtual race companies on Instagram, and there's one of them that I was very interested in called, I think it's Conqueror Challenges. I'll link them down below. But it's like virtual marathons and things like that, but you can walk, any distance type, so you can use swimming, you can use jogging, running, walking, I think rowing, anything that you can, like any sort of physical activity that does distance, you can use to apply to your race. And they had a big sale at the end of December where you were able to buy a certain number and get a certain number free. And so I have been trying to be more active and be better about hitting my minimum like step goal every day and doing more stuff like that. But the reason why I went with this company is they have now two, but when I first saw them and when I first purchased this grouping, they have a Lord of the Rings virtual race, and the one that I'm doing is based all around not just the Fellowship, but like Sam and Frodo. And so it's 5 medals, but you can't unlock the next medal until you finish the previous one. So I have officially finished the first medal, which is the Shire, and I thought I would open it up with you because it's Lord of the Rings. I have completed one other virtual race so far this month, and it was one where you walked, like the distance that you walked was the pyramids at Giza, which is super cool, but I didn't share it with you at that point. But so it comes in this super nice box. So yep, and there's the 5 different medals. So this medal, we start at the Shire and we got to the Prancing Pony, and I'm working on the second medal right now, and so that one will be from the Prancing Pony to, I'm guessing where they meet with the elves is where that one will end. I haven't really looked. So here's a little congratulations thing on the inside of the box. And here is the medal. Oh my gosh, keep it secret, keep it safe. And what I'm very, very excited for. So let me pull this out. So here is the lanyard it's on. So let me show you here. So here we go. Here's a close-up. And then here's the back. Isn't that gorgeous? It's just so detailed and it's very sturdy. But what's super exciting is for this one, I can figure out how it opens. The envelope opens and we have the ring. Like, we have the ring. And it even has the elven on it. So that's super duper exciting. And what you can do is there will be a spot in all 5, and there's like where it's held. So there will be a spot in all 5 of the medals for you to put the ring in. So you get the ring in the first one, and then you can move it to all the medals. And the final one is getting to Mordor. So when you put the ring in that medal, you're putting the ring in Mount Doom. And I know I'm completely nerding out right now, but I love it. They actually just recently announced, I want to say like last month, another Lord of the Rings virtual race, or virtual challenge, I guess is what they call them. And that one is based on Aragorn's journey. And so that one has 3 medals where he's going to Helm's Deep. And he goes to Rohan, I think is the first one. And then Helm's Deep. And then somewhere else, I'm blanking. But they have just 3 medals for that one. And then I will show you, here is the lanyard that it comes with. So it looks like it's got the map. It says make every mile count. And then their logo on the top, and it's the same on the other side, but it has. So yeah, I'm very excited. I have my first Lord of the Rings challenge medal, and I think this is just a good, I don't know, extra buffer or extra, I don't know, incentive to be more active and to get fun things. And as a big nerd and Lord of the Rings fan, I have been saving this forever, and then when they had their big sale, it was worth it for me because I got enough free that I was able to get the whole set plus 2023's medal for free, and then that Giza of Pyramid one for free for less than the normal deal that they have for the bundle of the 5 of these. So I definitely recommend signing up for their newsletter, checking out their website. They have tons of different medals. They have most of them are like history based, or like national parks or locations that you can visit and walk around, but they are looking at doing, I don't even know what you called this, I guess pop culture based races. They actually sent a huge survey out recently to everybody who had purchased the Lord of the Rings ones on what other like trademarks and TV shows and movies and things like that people would be interested in doing a virtual challenge for. But anyway, I just wanted to share because I'm very excited for it. And yeah, I'm pretty happy, and I'm pretty happy with myself. And then there is a picture of Sam and Frodo, but the sticker's like right over Frodo's face. Poor Frodo. But yeah, so this is the little box it came in. I will probably figure out some way to safely display them and share, and so I can look at all the prettiness when they're up. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. So that is all I have for you today, and I will see you tomorrow. And I tried to keep this short, but we're at another like over 20 minutes. So I'm sorry, but things are just happening and I'm excited. So have a good Thursday. Hello. So surprise, it is Friday. I got sucked into doing some boxes last night. I ended up going through 5 boxes, but I also cleaned out my childhood toy box, and then I cleaned all the inside of it and got that carried in. And then I did a couple loads of clothes and blankets that were in the storage unit, and those ones didn't show signs that mice or anything had gotten in them, but they were in storage forever. So I wanted to wash them before I really went through them and decided if I wanted to get rid of things or not. So it was a busy night last night, and yeah, so I just didn't get the chance to film a clip, but I do have some reading updates to go over really quick. So as for Last Sacrifice, it's loading. I am on chapter 15, so I'm 38% through, so I've made some decent headway in it the past couple nights, which is good. And I'm intrigued to see how things are kind of going to evolve. So we've got Dimitri and Rose kind of off, originally trying to hide from the Guardians and stuff, And then they run into Sydney. So Sydney's back and I'm very excited. I'm a big fan of Sydney. And then they were staying with the keepers, which is interesting because those are the like dampers and humans and Moroi that are like living off the grid basically. And so like everybody leaves them alone and they leave everybody else alone kind of a thing. But they're called the keepers because they keep the traditions of the old ways, which is interesting because if the old ways was okay with human and Moroi, not just interactions, but like relationships, like the leader of this little group is like married to a human and they have at least one kid, if not two kids. And then he has, I don't know what, but it's kind of intimated that he has a Moroi mistress and a child with her. So I don't know. It was interesting. But they are where I have left off. They have just left them, or they're getting ready to leave them. And then what's happening back at court, Lissa just got nominated to be in the running to become the queen. And I get that it's just a ploy that they're coming up with to try to expand the length of time it takes nominations to run, because they're going to have to figure out the legality of Lissa running and check their official rules and all that stuff. But I guess there's nothing against her running, but it's against her becoming queen is where there's issues, or becoming court. But so in the meantime, Dimitri and Rose are going to be trying to find Lissa's half-sister. So I'm interested. And definitely, I mean, a lot of them have started out well, so we'll see. I feel like when we get kind of to the 40-50% range is usually when things start popping up where I start to kind of get grouchy or a little too nitpicky with things. So I'm coming up on that percentage normally. So we'll see how the last book, if it just really just kicks it out for the rest of the series. I don't know. So I'm cautiously optimistic that this one will be better than a 3.5, which is what the last couple of books have been. So yeah. And then as for audiobook wise, I did start an audiobook and let me close this. So I picked up Song of the Forever Rains by E.J. Mello, and this is a YA fantasy romance. It's available on KU as a read and listen. So I picked this up as my audiobook, and this will be the third and final book in my Pharaoh Feb, even though it's not Pharaoh Feb anymore, but fantasy new to me authors vlog. So that's why I picked this one up, so I can get this final book read and clips done so I can get that posted, because it is now after February. It is now March, obviously. So I am just waiting for my ebook here to fast forward to where I left off in the audiobook. Okay, so I'm on chapter 9. And I am 27% in, and I'm intrigued. So this has 3 sisters, and this is a part of the Musai series, and I'm not going to talk too much about it because, like I said, I'm going to be doing that dedicated vlog for it. But this was one of the, I feel like I saw it, one of these books either in a Pharaoh Feb newsletter when one of the books in the series was released, or it was in like one of the recommended to me based off what I'm reading either on Amazon or on Goodreads. So, but this is Larkira, and she's our heroine, and she's the youngest of 3 sisters. And it seems like they've got a double life going on, because they've got magic stuff going on, but then it seems like they're also, I think they were Jabari, and they're like noblemen's daughters, it seems like, but then they've got this secret life. But that wasn't what, and it was really interesting because when we meet her, she's like returning this magical ring and it won't leave her finger. So she ends up having whoever she's returning it to cut her finger off partially. And it sounds like it's like the first half of her finger or something like that. And so, I mean, that was like, whoop, way to like jump right into it. And then, so it's like, but she's kind of in some dingy clothes and she runs into a nobleman who's getting robbed. And so she saves him. And so it felt almost kind of like we might have a class difference type situation. But then when she arrives back at the castle, she actually is somewhat of a noble person. So I don't know. I'm really, really intrigued. I definitely do think because I am only doing this in audiobook, and with Fantasy Worlds, it is taking a little bit longer for it to stick. I'm guessing that her person is going to be the nobleman that she saved, and then she ran into him during like a gala ball type situation. And then he also was there when she and her sisters were in their like magic personas of the Musai. So I'm wondering, what is his name? Darius is his name, Lord Darius. And yes, I'm very intrigued and I'm excited to keep listening to it. So that's all I'm going to say about it. Like I said, I'm going to wait till I read maybe a couple more chapters and then I'll do my first update for my Pharaoh 5 vlog. But I at least wanted to say, hey, I'm still reading stuff even if I haven't finished anything yet. But I'm hoping this coming weekend I can get both of these done, or mostly done. Hi. And work on more boxes, and I'm hoping to make like a decent dent this weekend on those. And then Monday starts the Romance Takeover Readathon vlog, so, or Romance Takeover Readathon. So yeah, I'm excited for that. But otherwise, let's just get to the quest calendar. We have 2 days to catch up on to finish things out. So Wednesday, we came across some dude. It seemed like he might have been the pilot we were trying to track. And we were able to defeat him. So he surrendered to us. So let's see. Oh, yep. It is the same guy. And now he's got a sad face. He's a poor little guy. Okay. The pilot drops his weapon and surrenders. As you approach, he begins to apologize and plead with you. Please, I didn't mean to shoot at you. I thought you were a stitcher. Okay. I hope you were okay. Please, I need your help. Okay, so we've got some things happening here. So we've got a 1, 2, and a 3. But number 2 has 3 options, A, B, or C. So we've got stuff. So number 1 is hear his plea for help. And then 2 has the 3 options. So 2A is demand payment for our help. B is to ask payment for our help. Or C is to offer help without asking for a reward. And then 3 is take him back to the Karnak. So, let me, got my dice over here. So, let me just move that off our character sheet and then we can see what we're working with here. All right, so let's do number 1, which is listen to his plea. I did disobey an order, but I'm shocked to hear that I have been branded a traitor. I didn't come here to sell secret information about the Reformation. I am dedicated to the cause and wish to see the galaxy rebuilt and peace restored. My family went missing, and I got word that they had been taken by Stitchers and brought to the planet Ethelia. I couldn't believe it either, but I was worried about them and had to come check. My sergeant wouldn't take the situation seriously and refused to send a scout, so I had to do it myself. Once I arrived in the area, I was shot down by a barrage of homing missiles. I think it was a Stitcher ship. I have fought the Zorian Empire and faced all manner of pirates and raiders. There was something different about this ship. Once I crash-landed, I erased the logs in case there were traces of information that could harm the Reformation's efforts. I then left to go find my family. I fear for their safety. Have you heard the rumors about these Stitchers? They are monsters that mutilate themselves and harvest body parts and organs from innocent aliens. I have to rescue my family before they get hurt. Please help me save them. Oh my gosh, they're like Frankenstein aliens. But they're doing it to themselves. Or Frankenstein monsters. Aliens, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay. We're already going to get paid to come deal with this mission. So I'm going to do option C, which is offer help without asking for a reward. We're just going to offer our help. So, we get to increase our virtue by 1 point. Perfect. All right, so then take him back to the Karnak. So Constitution roll reminder survivalist. So we do get our +2 from survivalist and our Constitution is a 1. So total of +3. And that is a 14. So that is a total of 17. Okay, if the result is 15 or more, you make it back to the Karnak safely. Perfect. So there is that. We are all good and our virtue goes up. We are now at a positive +5. Or I guess positive and plus are the same thing, aren't they? Ha ha ha. I'm just talking and words are just coming out of my mouth here. All right, +5. Sweet. So I will get that changed. Okay, so on to what today's one. So once again, here's the pilot. That explains his sad face. Okay. Okay, so it looks like maybe more traveling or something like that. So we've got more landscaping issue stuff. The Fang, a modular front portion of the Karnak, disengages from the main vessel. Built to be agile, it acts as a scout ship with adequate combat capabilities. While the rest of the ship and team stay behind, you set off to find the pilot's family. Okay. After a short while, you discover a large cave entrance that appears unnatural amongst the landscape of the planet Athelia. Okay, so number 1 is what do you know about caves and bunkers, an intellect roll. And 2 is sneak into the cave hideout, which is a dexterity roll. So yeah, it looks like here might be the entrance to the cave, or maybe over here. It's hard to tell what that is. All right, so let's see here. So intellect, reminder, student. We are not a student, and our intellect is a 0. So just a straight whatever we roll. And that is an 11. Okay, so if the result is between 8 and 14, do I want to chance it? I could do a reroll, but there's a good chance I could roll lower versus higher, because it'd really only make a difference if we get 15 or more. So I'm gonna wait and read. So this is no cave. It is a bunker carved out of natural rocks and meant to be disguised as a natural formation. You can expect that if the pilot's family was taken, they are here. Gain a +2 bonus to act stealthily. Yeah, I'm fine. We don't need to re-roll it. We'll save it in case our stealthy roll goes bad. Okay, so number 2, sneak into the cave hideout. So stealthy, we do not have, but our dexterity is a +3, plus we get the +2 bonus. So we have a +5 to whatever we roll. So that is it was almost a 3, and then it turned 1 more. So we're at a 19. So 24. If the result is 15 or more, you are able to sneak into the bunker without any apparent trace of being noticed. Gain 3 credits as a reward. Okay. All right, I'll take it. Okay, that's it. So we've snuck inside this little secret cave bunker, and we'll see what happens next week. Hopefully we can safely rescue all of this pilot's family. But I think that's all I have for you this week. So I'm sorry this one is super duper long. I just was super rambly earlier this week. But hopefully things will kind of settle and calm down here, and I'm hoping I can get through these boxes pretty quickly. I'm giving myself this month, and then if not, then I'm gonna have some issues, but I'm hoping to make a big chunk dent. Like I said, yesterday was the first day I really was working on boxes instead of on like furniture and the other miscellaneous items. Like I have a penguin poster portrait thing that was my mom's, so I got that cleaned and put in the bedroom where I'm going to eventually hang it up, but all of my hanging up stuff is behind the boxes. So, you know, I've been doing like other things like that, but my goal still is on the weeknights to try to do between 3 to 5 boxes, but my goal is to do at least 10 to 15 boxes both tomorrow and Saturday, or Saturday and Sunday, but we'll see what happens. I'm just hoping to make a big dent. So yeah. Anyway, I'll see you all next week. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to leave me an emoji down below, leave something box related, I guess boxes or a mover or something like that. And otherwise, don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all soon with another video.